Hello, everyone. How you doing? Monday afternoon. I know that this is not typically the time that I come on, but hey, sometimes getting out of routines is good. So for those of us who will be in here, probably, hi, Claudette. How are you? Sandra D, good afternoon. Well, hello, Denise. Hello, Jolie. Well, hey, listen, cup of coffee to all of us. And greetings and salutations to each of you. Trust that your day is doing you well and that you're absorbing the fullness of this day into your journey. Because I am convinced that something, hello, Robin, how are you? Renaissance woman, good to see y'all. Litty, hiya. Knowledge seeker, something is going on. I had to go out and really begin to think about what's happening, particularly what I have seen here very recently. And it seems, I guess, I don't want to use a word that's so well or so used now. And maybe there's another word that will emerge. I'm not sure, but there is an awakening taking place. There is. I'm a guy who thinks logically, try to. My mind sees structure, and that's what made me a good CEO. So here is what I'm seeing. When I see something that is random, in other words, it's a person who will email me one time. All right, so that's a random encounter. We can debate whether the randomness was in the timing of the meeting or that the meeting was even in the randomness of time. Doesn't matter. If something happens twice, well, it's no longer randomness. It's now happened twice. You could say, well, it's coincidental. Not sure. I believe in coincidences per se. But if it happens twice and not again, then you can say, well, kind of a fluke, right? But when something, hi, Brian, how are you doing? Hello. Look at all you folks here. Slightly Santa Truth. How are you, Chris? Good to see everyone. Wow, Bear, Matt, G, Experimental. Hi, everyone. All right, 72 of us. Now, if something happens 3 times, that is a pattern that's established. And what I am seeing is something happening. Now, apparently, there are pastors who listen to this channel. They don't participate in the chat room. They don't leave comments. But apparently they listen. Why? I'm not sure. So yesterday, when Jeff and I did our show that we do on Sunday mornings, and the show that I did Saturday night, the Rite of Passage, the Rite of Birth Passage, apparently invoked a frequency, a harmonic, because I actually heard from 3 different pastors, all saying that what I was speaking about, this Rite of Birth Passage, it triggered something. And it's triggered something in me, a very strong something in me, that it could be very well that this is the most single greatest revelation to our species of the 21st century. Things are happening. I don't know what. First of all, let me address a number of emails that were sent to me. Let's talk about this 5G. There are a number of other YouTube channels out there that are discussing this. You can easily go out there and check them out yourself. But here is what is apparently emerging, that the 5G network is, in fact, an artificial magnetic field being generated. I use, and this is R. Wayne Steiger's vernacular, the term dampening field. And listen to me on this. This dampening field doesn't go that high up, less than a mile. And the closer you're to the ground, the more intense it is. Meaning, if you're 10 feet or under to the ground, 10 feet up, 10 feet under. Well, might work there too, I don't know. But here's the point. I think they're blocking the frequency from us connecting to the earth. All of us that go out there and put our feet onto the earth, whether it be the sand, the water, whatever. With this dampening field being deployed worldwide in virtually no place in the industrialized world, and now apparently even in the Amazonian forest, you can't go because the towers are there, the Gwyn towers. And if in fact there is this artificial magnetic dampening field, what is it doing? And I'm beginning to think a number of different things. It could very well be suppressing our nervous systems, could be suppressing our autoimmune systems. More and more people are hearing the ringing in their ears. I told you about 6 weeks ago when apparently the activation switch has been turned on. This frequency is at a 1.065, and I'll have to go in my research and get the exact megahertz, but it's worldwide now. It's what they call an ultra low frequency, meaning animals can hear it. It's thought that this could be very well something that is interrupting migrations with animals. I think we're seeing more and more of that. But more and more people are, in fact, hearing the ringing, the constant tinnitus is what they're calling it. Well, I don't know. Listen, I was a roadie for a year, worked with Concerts West, and I was pretty next right up to those speakers. I remember Jethro Tull. Holy crap. Try being next one of those stage speakers when he started playing the flute. God almighty, my head rang for a couple of days on that. But the point is, they say Roger Daltrey is Pete Townsend is deaf, not Roger Daltrey, and that I can believe. But the point is, even when we're exposed to very loud sounds, you can rectify the issue. Apparently, those that deal in the hearing community is that this is something that isn't readily addressable. So what is it? Can we block it? Is there something that we can do? Can we activate our chakras now and begin to emit a stronger energy field around us? I think we can. So whatever they're doing with the 5G, it's getting activated. We know that there is this. Is this something to counter the Earth's heartbeat, the resonance now? What they call the Schumann resonance. Apparently, it's off the scale. Should be, I think, 7.85 or something in the resonant in the microhertz, but it's not. So anyway, something is going on. And I don't find this just coincidental that we're getting all of this. So we have the spraying, the altering of the atmosphere. Listen, tonight with Dr. Albers, she has a number of papers that she wrote that we're going to be talking about, but we're going to be talking about this because this is significance. Whatever the aerosol dispersion that's taking place, I don't call it the CTs anymore. No, let's call it for what it is. It's aerosol injection into the atmosphere. And that's, by the way, what Harvard is calling it. There are several white papers that are now being issued on this. There's a lot of concern about what China is now doing and what they have publicly broadcast as their weather manipulation. Who knows? But yeah, there's something in that arena. 111. How about that? Well, it's either 222 or 111. Good number, whoever that 111 person is. So let's talk about then about some of the illusions that are absolutely being busted wide open. Prior to coming in here, I was out in the back and coming in from the garage, and the thought hit me. This mind coitus, this God spell that has been craftily deployed upon us, and I think it's all pretty well recognized that it's, fear and control. Two of the most powerful unseen forces that will literally control masses. It always amazes me that when you study history and you study of the great tragedies of history, the genocides, the large-scale mass murders, that the executors were in many cases outnumbered 10, 15, 20 to 1. But yet, even when they were outnumbered, those that were being sacrificed, shall we say, I don't know, you can say murdered, I don't know, maybe synonymous with one and the other, who knows? So they didn't do anything. And it kind of tells you what's happened to us. A subscriber sent me a link, and I'm going to leave it. In fact, allow me to pull this up. I think YouTube still allows us to do this because I'm not technically promoting it, but I am. This channel, Eric Dubé, folks, if you want one of the, in my opinion, almost 2 decades in the video post-production industry, was in the ad industry for a long time, this is one of the best produced, best documentaries that I have come across. Highly, highly recommend that. If many of you that are coming out of the God spell, per se, struggling with trying to get your bearings, I recommend that video. I give it 5 stars across the board, because what you're going to find out is what I've been, in fact, it's not just me. There's so many of us, Rex, Jeff. I mean, there are so many good sources now that, it's the proverbial boy with his finger in the dike. You can't have enough fingers and toes to put your hands and fingers into the holes. The cracks are becoming too great. And what's happened, and then let me just tell you what this download, what I heard, was that man's greatness has now exceeded the archon's ability to keep contained. And I call the church the archons. Anyone who tries to enslave your mind with a religious ideology is an archon. And what's happened is the genius of our species, Homo sapiens, in our ever-evolving evolution of our species. And we do evolve, folks, starting all the way back to Homo erectus and going forward to where we are right now. And we are at a transition point in our species evolution. But let me finish the thought. Our greatness, our brilliancy of our spirit because we, mankind, humankind, womankind, we passed the Rite of Birth Passage, and they could not suppress it. The Dark Ages, where literally 250 million people were sacrificed in that period of time with the repression of thought, free thought, by those in control. And today, our genius, our greatness, as troubled of a species that we are, and we're a troubled species. We have lost our way. We followed paths that led us astray. And now, the technology that we have given creation to is now exposing the great lie, the great deception. And people are having a very difficult time of it. But the problem is, all the doubts, all the questionings that we all have now been amplified by this energy that I believe the earth itself is responsible for, of which we are picking up. And so now we're realizing there never was a Jesus Christ. It's a make-believe story. And all you just have to do, you don't even have to do that much work. That's the thing about it. You do very little, and all of a sudden it unzips. You realize people that claim to have the Christian faith, I say, well, are you Jew? Are you a Jew? Or are you a Hebrew? I mean, what are you? Yeah. And it's time that this God spell be dispelled, and it is being dispelled. But what's happening is that so many are coming out of this thing, and they're going, what now? I mean, even those that are in the pulpit now realize that the gig is up. They realize that it's out. So what do? Well, I'm telling you, we never stopped and understood the rite of passage. So last night, I've been meditating on this intensely. I've been dreaming about it because I go to bed programming my thoughts on this. This is critically important for our species. Because when we wake up to this, we're going to realize we are greater than God itself. It's a fact. And I'll argue the case. Whether you want to believe in the myth, the analogy, the metaphorical representation of a creation story, fine. But here's the problem. The minute the first life form was born out of that process, it changed the whole rules. Even the created itself is not superior to this. Now, I'm not saying in the spiritual realm. I'm saying here in this physical realm of reality. And that no spirit, unless it has gone through the rites of initiation, can stand equal to any human being, good or bad. Because the spiritual cannot dictate to the physical. That's been the mind coitus. And I'll just lay it out straight. Again, you do not need religion for morality. If you lack morality, you lack empathy. And if you lack empathy, then you're not one of us, a Homo sapien. Now, are those born without souls? I believe that there are. I believe that there are imposters. But let me finish this, because when this reality, when this spark hits you and it ignites the logos, yeah, Let's go and use a little Greek. The rhema of the Logos. It's going to change everything. You don't have to be afraid of death. There's nothing to be afraid of. Let's just dispel all the beliefs here. So how do you go to hell? What, a spirit that never was in the flesh, never was born by a woman, a female, and gone through the rite of passage? How is that superior to you? It's impossible. How would they even know what feeling feels like? Ask yourself this. How can a spirit know what smell, taste, feelings, hearing, seeing? How can they know that if they've never been born physically? We make this broad assumption because of religious ideologies that somehow the spirit realm can see and do and dance and jig and everything else. Maybe they can, maybe they can't. I don't know. But all I know is, again, when I cross over to the birth portal, I'm taking my diploma with me. And any puke that tries to come up to me and say that they're superior to me, I'm going to say, where's your diploma? Because if you didn't make it through the rite of passage, you cannot be equal to me. This goes to the very concept of God itself. That's why they had to manufacture the story, starting with the imaginary character that never lived or existed, Abraham. Abram. Because as it is written, and this is odd, it's where the mind coitus goes, it says that God could do nothing in the earth but through what? A man. Could do nothing. Now, it kind of defies everything that you read prior to that, but it gets right to that point. And they knew this way long ago, 5,000 years ago. And after they had tried two other deities, two other belief systems, and they settled on this thing called Christianity, they knew they had a problem because they know exactly what I'm telling you right now. They understood this rite of birth passage. That's why they had to create the whole birth of a virgin story, which, by the way, existed. It was not even in the Jewish pantheon or belief system. It goes back all the way back to the Sumerians. Yes, about a virgin giving birth to a God-man. They knew it because you can't take authority in the physical realm unless you have completed the rite of birth of initiation. And the word passage means of a pass age. As you're passing the age through. I'm telling you. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this today. I'm not going to drop it either. But I'm telling you, folks, there is freedom within this. It's what makes your life worth it. People ask all the time, what's my life worth? What is the point of me being here? My God, you are God. You're doing something the gods themselves could never do. You passed the first part, the rite of the birth passage. Think about every person who wanted to commit suicide, who did commit suicide, had only realized that they had passed. There was no problem, no crisis that can equal to the accomplishment that each of us have. You're listening to me? Congratulations. You've done something incredible. Now there's one last rite that has to be done, and all of us will accomplish it. How can a God who has never been in the flesh judge you according to the flesh? How could they judge you according to the Spirit? That which is spirit, that which is flesh is flesh. I ask you, how can an unseen force dictate authority over you when they have not passed the rite of initiation? Explain to me how that works. How can an exorcism even exist? They did not pass. Tells me, I don't know about you, but this is something that is changing, and it's bringing all the pieces, the decades, and particularly in these last 6 years, the intensity, the deconstructing of my core, the core beliefs, shattering them, not even allowing me to pick up the shards to build anew. I had to do it from the ground up. And I'm not there yet, folks, but I'll tell you what, I'm a hell of a lot further than I was. And I'm telling you, if you're having problems, struggles with guilt, struggles with somehow another betrayal, somehow another unworthiness, somehow another that you are beneath, no. You are above. You have done something, no matter what your religion is, no matter what your God is, has not done itself. And how can they have authority over something that they haven't met the condition for? People say, well, what are you saying? Sounds like you're saying atheism. No, I'm not. There is that unimaginable, infinite source. But I don't believe it's been anything like it's been told to us. I've told you this, and I have made this a public declaration. I renounce and deny any allegiance to any world god of any religion until they show me that they have gone through the Rite of the Birth Passage and made the final rites. They're unqualified. That's how it is. So put that in your pipe and smoke it. All right. I don't know if there have been previous lives. I don't know about the whole reincarnation thing. I really don't. I happen personally not to believe it. No, I'll tell you why. Because if you're going through the recycling process again and again and again, it diminishes the very purpose of the rite of birth itself. It makes it almost of no effect. That's just my belief. All right, folks. I told you this wasn't going to be long. Tonight, join me with Dr. Albers, with the physicist and philosopher. Thank you for giving me your time on this subject. I am going to pursue this. For me, someone wrote to me today, and you were spot on. The person said, in essence, prior to coming to listening to you, of which he says at first, you know, I've been called many things, but he said, I was afraid of dying. Now, he came out of the Christian faith. He says, it always bugged me. It was never good enough. Could never reach that pinnacle But he said, listening to you, and he said, you caused me to go out and seek and search on my own. And again, I'm quoting almost his words was that I didn't have to go that far. And he said, lo and behold, everything that you have been saying is proving to be correct. And then he said this. He said, there's a freedom in me now. And I know that feeling. I wake up every morning now. I don't hear the voice anymore, that condemning voice. And he says, I'm looking forward now to stepping through, as he says, the birth portal. He says, I get it. Yeah. But it makes this present moment all the sweeter, good or bad. At least we're experiencing it. I think Jeff said yesterday, and I thought it was an appropriate comment, that there's a great cloud of witnesses. I bet, yeah, I absolutely do. You know, I got that from Philo. Listen, and by the way, I encourage you to read Philo, because if you read Philo, he's probably the most solid proof that there never was anything or one by a Messiah named Jesus Christ. Yeshua was a very common name back there, but there was no martyred Yeshua. Philo would have known. In fact, the mythical character Paul is based on all the works of Philo. If you want to know where the origins of Christianity come from, it comes from Philo. He's the one that introduced the whole concept of the Trinity and introduced the concept that God was Father. Prior to that, God was not Father. God was executioner, judge, a jealous thing, as it says. Yeah. Well, folks, I appreciate you all. I tell you, we got some great, this is a family. This is growing. I know that seems, so overused that it almost sounds cliche-ish. I get it. But I got to tell you, it's not. There is definite times when that is appropriate. I mean, the Homo sapiens is a member family of many different races. And we all come from many different backgrounds here. And, some people have a more difficult struggle than others. Well, thank you, Hidden Harvest. Bless you. I had to let me just come out and say this. There are those who believe that the earth is flat. Hey, listen, I don't care if you believe it's a cube. What I don't like is when you start taking on fanaticism and when you start hurling insults, calling people shrills. If you want to call me a name, I'll send you an invite and I'll face you mano a mano, and then you can call me the name. Don't be a coward. Hide behind your words. If you got something to say, put the big boy britches on and step up. Otherwise, be respectful of other people's beliefs. Remember, you passed the rite of initiation. It doesn't matter what the world is, flat, round, square, cube, doesn't matter. You passed the rite of initiation. Rejoice. Be joyous. Don't be looking to start proselytizing. Rejoice in the fact that we made it through the rite of passage. So anyway, folks, hey, I appreciate you. Man, got me riled up. Well, this is something to be riled up. Listen, freedom. My God. It brings tears to my eyes when I think now. I walk in joy. I walk in the fact that I'm alive to life. I'm not drunk down by ideologies, religious idioms that don't matter. I have finally found, in 62 years of walking on this planet, 22,900 and 47 days, I have found myself. I'm awakening to the fact that what I knew as a child, I was here to experience. Unfortunately, it's a messed up system. But in that, I found myself. And you suddenly don't get all uptight about things. You don't. And when you feel it coming on, you see, that's why I cut off the news. I look at the headlines, but I do not expose myself to that. Why? Because I can now feel my blood pressure going up or going down. I can feel it now on my body because you know what? I finally got in touch with my body. So many people, we abuse these bodies. But I've told mine, I apologized to it, repented to it. And it's a separation of me. And I think if more people would just love their bodies and apologize to them, we have the ability to heal ourselves. We have the ability to heal others. And some are gifted with the ability to heal others. It's how that works. And again, because the powers to be had to have it where there was a dependency system. Do you know the beginning of medical science would have never been to where it is today had the church been allowed to go the way it was? And I'm talking even the post-church folks, the Protestant church. They were in some cases even more perverted than the Catholics. But here's the point. So the true human beings, they had to work on cadavers in the dark of night in order to begin to learn the anatomical parts of our body. Amazing how much paganism, oh, that's right. Paganism means land dweller in the country. Gnosticism, seekers of knowledge? Maybe. All right. My best to all of y'all. See you tonight with Dr. Albers. Thank you. I appreciate it. Be kind to yourselves. Listen, within all this, we're discovering together. You know, I just happen to have that type of energy that, well, I am who I am. Therefore, I think I am. Moody Blues. All right, folks, I will see y'all later. Be kind to yourselves and love yourself. I'll tell you what, you start learning in this truth. Now, just think about, before I go, now you can look at your wife, the person you're in love with, those around you. Now you can truly look at them in the light. They passed the Rite of Birth Passage. And you know, you might want to be really friendly to that person who you may have given the bird of index to, or the one you were really short with, because you never know. On the other side, they may have something or in a position of something that you may need. Think about this, folks. It's a birthing process. I don't think it's going to be as the painful. I think it's going to be the exact opposite. I believe is exactly as I have read, close to it be as orgasmic. Because you know, an orgasm is both painful and yet pleasurable. Isn't that odd? Anyway, that's another subject for another time. I digress. All right. Well, Death Star, if you're not married, well, just hug the person. You know, Stephen Steele said it always best. If you can't love the one you're with, then if you can't love the one you want, then love the one you're with, right? All right, folks. See y'all later. Appreciate all the moderators. Y'all are the best. And I'm just reading y'all's comments as I'm going out. That was distracting. All right. Bye-bye, folks. See you tonight.